Love Actually reunites the team behind Four Weddings and a Funeral and Notting Hill. These blockbuster films, written by Richard Curtis and produced by Duncan Kenworthy, went on to become two of the most successful productions in Working Title's 20-year history. In this, his writing and directing debut, Richard Curtis continues to draw on his own experiences.
Richard does definitely draw on his own experiences and his own friends and sort of people. They've got less personal as they've gone on, because you can see in both The Tall Guy and Four Weddings, definite Richard world, you know, pretty much mirrored to people that one knows in Richard's world. And Love Actually in many ways is more disparate, because it's, you know, it's 8, 9, 10 different stories, and you know, obviously some of them are purely fictitious.
I can't remember how Love Actually started. I think it may be that I decided that films take me such a long time. You know, they take about 3 years in the end. That means if I wanted to go on writing romantic films, I would spend the rest of my life doing it. So I decided that what I'd try and do is write 9 of them or 10 of them all at the same time, see whether or not I could intertwine them.
Bonjour, Aurélia.
Bonjour.
Je suis très heureux de vous avoir ici.
She's a very attractive girl. She has this amazing capacity to make herself invisible. At the beginning, this rather shrinking presence, who just gradually starts to blossom as the story goes on.
It was very easy to work with Richard and Duncan and Colin. He was amazing, very supportive. And the whole crew, I just fell in love with everyone.
When I was a settled married man, we did go and stay in a house in France, and there was a startlingly pretty Portuguese cleaning girl who I had to drive home every day, and they were exquisitely embarrassing half-hour interludes, because, you know, there's a limit to the number of times you can sort of smile.
And in real life, did she fall into a lake and strip off to reveal a tattoo just perched pertly above her pert buttocks?
No, in real life, she fell into a grump at how bad my driving was.
Actually, I'm in love.
Sorry?
I know I should be thinking about Mum all the time, and I am. But the truth is, I'm in love.
He's an awfully good actor because he actually listens. And he looks right into your eyes when you talk to him. There's nothing superficial or actorish about him, you know? And I find myself learning from him. You trust me?
I trust you.
You didn't like that one.
Well, I never quite bought it. Whereas Richard was able to say, I mean, I felt that it was difficult to convince the audience for an adult film to believe in a 10-year-old, I think he was at that time, boy's crush on a 10-year-old girl. But what to me was much more interesting was a man's attempt to bond with his stepson, which for me was real.
Remember, I was a kid once too.
My life was an absolute roller coaster of romantic emotion from the age of 4, when I fell in love with a girl called Jill, who was 12, and that lasted for 3 years, and we moved. I was immensely relieved and got on the bus on the first day in Sweden of going to school, and this girl called Tracy Thompson in a little red skirt got on, and I thought, no, here we go again.
Love is all around me, and so the fear.
I'm afraid you did it again, Bill.
I played a bit of Rolling Stones before I came out this morning and did some comic rock dancing in the full-length mirror in the trailer. And it does make me laugh. And I make myself laugh because it's so unlikely, the thought of me as a bloody, you know, rock and roll star.
Either I could behave like a real rock and roll loser and get drunk with my fat manager.
The Billy Mack story is in a way based on, the end of it is based on my relationship with Rowan. It could indeed be now my relationship with Duncan, and that there's this strange thing that when you work with people, you know, you're doing work, and you sometimes don't notice that you spent more time with the people you're working with than you have with your family and friends. I was just touched by that idea, by two people who don't get on, one of whom is always teasing the other, making their life wretched, suddenly realizing at Christmas that you know, that's who they've got, that's who they love. So that was actually the emotional core of it.
It's a massive relief not to be the one on whose shoulders the whole thing sits. But equally, I had forgotten how tricky it is, fiddly. Suddenly come in and be in character and be good is very tough. For some reason, you build up first day nerves again. Hello, Natalie.
Hello, David. I mean, sir. Shit, I can't believe I've just said that.
Obviously, Hugh's very well known and lusted after by many women, and it's the question that I've been asked most, I think, in the last month. What's he like? What's his hair like? And how does he kiss? And I have to say, very, very, very well.
So not quite as secret as we'd hoped.
It seemed like the Prime Minister would be a great person to have in the centre of a movie to show that love is all around, from, you know, man and waiter to Prime Minister.
Right, who do you have to screw around here to get a cup of tea and a chocolate biscuit?
In many ways, it's sort of the flip side of the Notting Hill pairing, isn't it? Where very, very famous woman and unknown guy. It's sort of love across the fame divide.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Carl.
Excuse me.
It's a big challenge for me, and also to be part of something so wonderful, so special that I think is this project. And with all of these amazing actors, with this very talented director, for me it's just great.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Carl. I think the thing that I take the most comfort in is that love sort of has a power of its own, and it will come into your life when it's least expected or most needed.
Just one dance before we run out of chances.
Me?
It's due to Duncan that the story's a bit more interesting between the two of them. Because I'd just written Another Englishman.
I just said, I don't think anyone could fantasize for 2 years about an Englishman that they were working with in an office. Nobody could be that attractive and English.
Mia's very pretty.
Is she?
You know she is, darling. Be careful there.
It's good to work with people that you've worked with before if you like and trust them. And Emma Thompson's playing my wife, and in a sense that means we almost don't have to rehearse the relationship. Not that we're married or anything, but we do know each other well, and we've worked together a few times now.
Alan and I are married, really. There's no two ways about it.
Oh, David!
Oh, how are you?
I must have worked with you about, I don't know, 5 times now. I worked with him before he was, famous, before, when we were sort of very young. He was 28 and I was 30, or he was 29, I can't remember. I said to him, one day we're going to have to play brother and sister. That would be a very good relationship for us to play, because we've done almost everything else now.
Loitering around the jewellery section, I see.
No, I was just looking around.
Well, we had a lot of discussion about the story, because it didn't always end sadly. But you felt it
when
should.
Richard, I wasn't part of the development of it at all, but when Richard gave me the script and I read it, and it was fantastic and wonderfully joyful, but it seemed to me that if there was something missing, it was a bit of sadness. It did seem to be a roaring rampage of romance without much leavening, and so I said that to Richard very nervously, but he said, oh, well, I've already written a sort of slightly sadder thing with Emma's character.
I've looked at love from both sides now.
This is a very interesting development, because I wanted to end it optimistically. Duncan and Emma wanted to take it further, and then when Alan got the script, he said, I want to know what happens, because actually the last scene where she confronts him in the hall wasn't there, and I wrote that at Alan's behest.
I am so in the wrong. A classic fool.